I never thought a simple crush in high school could change my life. Yet here I am, looking back at years of letters, rejections, and heartbreak I didn't see coming. I want to share my story with you, the story of how I met someone who quietly followed my life for years without me even realizing it. I am now married, but this story happened years ago when I was still young and in high school. For privacy, call me Dani. And the guy in this story, let's call him Jim. I was 11 when I first met him. I came from the countryside, and he was a city boy. After graduating elementary school, I transferred to a school in the city. The first day, I was completely shocked. People spoke differently. They had their own expressions, their words sounded sharper, and their fashion sense was unlike anything I had seen. All the girls had their hair neatly tied up, wearing short skirts and makeup. I, on the other hand, showed up with wet hair dripping down, a hair tie on my left wrist, knee-length socks, and an old pair of shoes my aunt had given me. I felt out of place, glaringly different from everyone else. My section was A, the top section in the whole campus. I wasn't naturally smart. I just studied hard enough to avoid poor grades. Despite my awkwardness, the first day went surprisingly well. I adapted, got along with classmates, and slowly started feeling like I belonged. Jim wasn't in my class. He was in Section B, a section below. I didn't know him, to be honest, didn't have any crush, and I certainly had no interest in dating. My parents were strict, and since I grew up poor, my mother constantly reminded me, no boyfriends until you finished school. I listened, focusing primarily on my studies. One day, we were waiting for our next class outside the classroom. The setup at school meant that after each subject, we moved to a new classroom where the next teacher would wait for us. While waiting for the English teacher to finish dismissing her class, my classmates started giggling and talking about their crushes in Section B. "Oh, that guy sitting there, I like him," one said. "Oh, mine's that one," another added. At least 3 girls were eyeing different boys. Then, one turned to me and asked, "Dani, who do you like in that section? You can't pick the same guys, okay?" I pointed at a random boy just to cut the conversation. Days later, the same classmate who asked me about my crush told me something shocking. The guy I liked already knew about it. She personally told him. I was stunned. None of it was true. I didn't like him at all, didn't even know him. However, strangely, it didn't bother me. First year ended and soon I was in second year. I had all but forgotten about the guy I supposedly liked. Then, one day, I received a letter. A love letter. And to my shock, it was from him, the very guy I had randomly pointed at. He was officially asking if he could court me. I couldn't process my thoughts, so I quickly responded, firmly telling him I wasn't interested in dating. But he was determined. Classmates helped him arrange small talks every chance they got. He kept sending letters, appearing in our classroom wanting to talk to me. It felt uncomfortable. My first encounter with someone showing romantic interest. How am I supposed to react? Rejections after rejections, yet he persisted. By third year, I was startled to see his name on the new students list. Jim was transferring into my class. Goosebumps ran down my spine. I was screwed. He continued pursuing me, and I continued saying no. But over time, the firm no softened into a hesitant. One day, let's see. I had no interest in him before, but now something was shifting. Slowly, I realized the reason for the discomfort I felt in his presence wasn't annoyance or fear. That strange, fluttering, unfamiliar feeling. It was perhaps the feeling of liking someone. Fourth year came and nothing changed. He was just as persistent, and I was the same. Fast forward, and we were both university students. I studied arts, he studied IT. When I graduated high school, my father gifted me my first phone. Jim immediately asked for my number, and we exchanged messages over the summer before university. Once university started, we were both busy. Though he still texted me when he could, we hardly crossed paths. Different majors and no shared minor classes kept us apart. Jim did, however, have Mia, a female high school classmate in several minor classes. It was easier for him to adjust, just having her there. He kept in touch, but then one day, he stopped. At first, I thought he was just busy. Days turned to weeks, weeks into months. By the third month, rumors began to reach me. One morning in math class, I was sitting beside Mia. At the back was Austin, another high school classmate. Austin asked her, "What's your plan today, Mia? Celebrating, huh?" and giggled. I didn't understand at first. Maybe it was her birthday? But I later realized it wasn't. As class was ending, I glimpsed a familiar figure outside the door. It was Jim. My heart jumped. Was he waiting for me? He didn't smile. Oddly, he wore a necklace, something he'd never been interested in back in high school. When class ended, I moved toward the exit, hoping for a reaction, but he didn't approach me. When I looked back, I saw him walking side by side with Mia and Austin. My stomach sank. Could this be why he stopped texting me? Was he with her? It wasn't until a chance encounter in the cafeteria that I learned the truth. Tommy, another high school friend, casually mentioned it. You know, Jim and Mia had been together for 2 months now. My mind flashed back to all the subtle signs I had ignored. Austin's teasing question, that hallway moment, that necklace. Everything finally made sense. I couldn't help but revisit the last conversation I had with Jim before he quietly slipped away from my life. I remembered him leaning closer, his voice hesitant but steady. Do I have a chance? My chest had tightened, and I had muttered almost instinctively, let's see. Then, softer this time, he had asked, if I wait for you until we finish university, do I have a chance? 3 years ahead felt impossibly far. I didn't know how to answer, so I said, "Jim, I can't give a definite answer now. Let's see when that time comes." And just like that, he drifted away, leaving a lingering mix of curiosity, regret, and unanswered questions that stayed with me far longer than I realized. I finished university holding on to the promise I made to my mother. No boyfriend. Jim continued his life as if I hadn't existed. Mia and he were still together. After graduation, I got my first job. By chance, Jim was there too, in a different department. One day, as I was logging out, I passed by him on the couch. He followed me and started a casual conversation. "Hey Dani, what's up? What have you been up to?" I smiled politely. "Oh Jim, never been better." Then he said, almost as if nothing had happened in the past, "Wanna have some ice cream?" I shook my head, saying, "No thank you, I don't want rumors." That was the first and the last time we spoke at that company. In the years that followed, he would contact me out of the blue, but we never revisited the past. No confrontations, no explanations, nothing. It was as if that chapter had never existed. Looking back, I don't think I shed a single tear when I found out about Jim and me. I was hurt, yes, but I understood that some things aren't meant to be. I wondered about all the what-ifs. What if I had given him some assurance? What if I had reached out? Would it have changed anything? But deep down, I knew it was for the best. Life moves on, and so did I. He deserved his happiness, and I truly wished it for him. Love, Dani.